Working 20,000 way high.
Chris, let me know when we're ready.
Hot mics.
All right, hot mics. Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call to order the Perinton Town Board meeting for March 25th, 2026. Thank you, everyone, for coming. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Sarah Masterson. Thank you, Sarah. All right, I'll start with introductions. My name's Jen Townsend, serving as your town supervisor. And my fellow board members here tonight are Councilman Dave Masterson, Councilwoman Emily Mishler, Councilman Michael Foligno, Councilwoman Meredith Stockman-Broadbent, and our town clerk, Andrew Gilchrist. The staff who are participating tonight are Executive Assistant to the Supervisor, Melissa Martins, Director, who was down there, our Town Assessor, Wayne Pickering, our Commissioner of Recreation and Parks, Jeff Nutting, our Volunteer Board Coordinator, Chris Mueller, Director of Finance, Brian Dick, and our Commissioner of Public Works, Jason Kennedy, and our Town Attorney, Joe LaFay. To start, just a note, our town board meetings are recorded and may be transcribed utilizing artificial intelligence technology. All right, to start off, you should have received the meeting minutes from our March 11th town board meeting. If there are no changes or corrections, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as submitted.
So moved.
Councilman Foligno, second. Councilwoman Stockman-Broadbent. All in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Next up is the audit. You should have received the audit from the Director of Finance. Has the Finance Committee had a chance to review the audit?
I have reviewed the bills and recommend them for payment.
All right, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Emily, a second. Meredith, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, that carries. I forgot my pen. I feel naked without my pen.
Here we go.
Thank you. I have to hold it. It's like a security blanket. Okay, sorry. Do you have another one?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so next up, this item, this is a request from our assessor, Wayne Pickering, regarding appointments to the Board of Assessment Review. One of our long-serving BAR members, Dave Andrulis, has chosen to step away and not seek reappointment. I want to take a moment to thank Mr. Andrulis for his many years of dedicated service to the town. To fill that vacancy, the assessor is recommending the appointment of Cindy Moriarty to the Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term ending September 30th, 2030. Mrs. Moriarty has been a Perinton resident since 2016 and brings extensive experience in real estate, including over 30 years as a licensed professional and a broker since 2007. In addition, due to our townwide reassessment this year, which I'm guessing many are here because of that, we are anticipating an increased number of assessment grievances. In accordance with Section 523A of the New York State Real Property Tax Law, the assessor is requesting the appointment of a 1-year temporary BAR member to serve on the administrative hearing panel. For that role, the recommendation is Jolene Maltman, a Perinton resident and broker owner of Abundance Realty Corporation with 30 years of real estate experience. This temporary appointment would run through September 30th, 2027. Both appointees will be required to complete the mandatory BAR training being conducted by the county on April 22nd, 2026. At this time, I'll ask if there are any questions or discussion from the board. Oh, if there's no discussion, I'll ask for a motion to appoint Cindy Moriarty to the Town of Perinton Board of Assessment Review for a 5-year term ending September 30th, 2030, and to appoint Jolene Maltman as a 1-year temporary member of the Board of Assessment Review with a term ending September 30th, 2027, as recommended by the town assessor.
So moved.
Councilman Foligno,
Second.
Councilman Mishler, all in favor?
Aye.
That carries.
Can I just ask a quick question? I should have
Please.
asked it earlier. But,
No.
Mr. Pickering, do you feel that that would be sufficient? Those 2 hires?
Yeah, what I'll be doing is there's 5 members on the Board of Assessment Review, and there'll be 1 temporary. So what I'm going to do is to split the board up into 2 3-person board.
Okay.
so that I'm running two Board of Assessment Reviews meetings at the same time. So I hope it's going to be enough, and we'll have to wait and see. And if the Board of Assessment Review meetings have to go through June, then that's what we'll have to do.
Like a plan. Thank you.
Right, next up. This agenda item comes from our Department of Public Works and Commissioner Kennedy regarding drainage and erosion issues in the area behind the Meadows and Lancashire Hills subdivisions. Specifically, along an ephemeral, that's how you say that, right? An ephemeral stream that has experienced ongoing erosion. These subdivisions were constructed in the early 1980s, and a town-owned stormwater infrastructure that discharges into this stream, which ultimately flows through Powder Mills Park and into Arundequoit Creek. This area was identified in the town's capital improvement program plan due to worsening erosion conditions. In 2022, the town authorized emergency repairs to the stormwater outfall serving Lancashire Way. At that time, the DPW identified significant erosion downstream. Continued deterioration and concerns raised by neighboring property owners led the town to engage Collier's Engineering and Design to study the ravine conditions during 2024 and 2025. That study identified a potential solution involving redirecting the town's stormwater discharge away from the ravine and into an adjacent town storm sewer system on Old Stonefield Way. Doing so would meaningfully reduce the volume and intensity of flow contributing to the erosion. The study also outlined potential long-term restoration options once that discharge is redirected. The DPW has met with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and affected property owners. And the next step is to move forward with detailed engineering and permitting work associated with this redirection. DPW is requesting authorization for the supervisor to execute an engineering agreement with Collier's Engineering and Design in the amount of $65,900. These services would include hydraulic analysis, wetland evaluation, and detailed design and cost estimates for the proposed improvements. There is sufficient funding available in the DPW 2026 Drainage Contractual Expense Budget account. With board approval, DPW intends to complete design work and then either bid the project or proceed with construction under potential emergency authorization later this year, as timely action is important to prevent further erosion. Commissioner Kennedy, do you have anything to add to that?
I just wanted to recognize the Freelands who are in the audience this evening in support of this proposal. Thank you guys for being here tonight. Thank you.
Great. Nice to see you guys. Any comment from the board or questions? Nothing. Okay, if there's, oh, go.
Oh, sorry. Right, this will prevent like siltification of the creek proper itself and shallow those important pools downstream from the erosion points.
Right now, what we're requesting is to redirect the 35-year-old discharge from Lancashire Way into the ravine drainage way. We're way beyond siltation at this point. The ravine, significant erosion has occurred in the ravine proper, particularly across two properties, including the Freelands and the Bears property. And as it does so, it's carried immeasurable amounts of silt, debris, soil, woody vegetation downstream, which actually has impacted the wetland down in Powder Mill Park. So the DC is aware of that too. So addressing this and ultimately addressing, the erosion would prevent further siltation migration downstream. But this is kind of step one in a multi-step process.
Very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right, if there's no further questions, I'll ask for a motion to authorize the town supervisor to execute an engineering service agreement with Collier's Engineering and Design in the amount of $65,900 for drainage and erosion engineering services related to the Lancashire Way stormwater outfall, with funding provided from the 2026 DPW drainage contractual expense account. Councilwoman Mishler, second Councilman Masterson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Next up is a proposal for professional planning services to support community planning. specifically focused on the Erie Canal corridor and the hamlets of Bushnell's Basin in Egypt. This proposal is from CZB, which is formerly Ingalls Planning, the folks in the village and the box factory. They have extensive local experience in small area planning, market analysis, and community-driven visioning. The purpose of this work is to establish realistic, community-based visions for the future development in these areas and to translate those visions into clear, implementable guidance. This is something we're finding there's a lot of development going on in these areas. We as a board really think that we need a little bit more planning and focus on the details in these areas and what things should look like. And the proposed scope includes two main components. The first is a review of the Erie Canal Conservation Overlay District to ensure that the regulations clearly convey desired outcomes related to historic preservation, environmental stewardship, public access, and appropriate redevelopment. This may also include illustrative materials to help make expectations clearer for property owners, developers, and the community. The second component is the creation of concise hamlet area plans for Bushnell's Basin and Egypt. These plans would be grounded in existing conditions analysis, market context, and extensive community engagement. The process would include workshops, stakeholder outreach, and direct engagement with property owners and business leaders. The final products would include illustrated plans, concept diagrams, and prioritize implementation strategy that could inform future zoning updates, capital investments, and policy decisions. The proposed schedule is approximately 5 months, with work beginning June 1st and concluding by the end of October. The total cost for the project is a fixed lump sum fee of $75,000, which includes all engagement, analysis, drawings, and final plan documents. This type of work aligns with our broader goals of transparency, proactive planning, and ensuring that growth and reinvestment reflect community values rather than reacting to proposals as they come in. Tonight's request is to authorize moving forward with this planning effort. I'll pause here to see if there's any discussion from the board or questions.
Yeah, I just really want to show my support for this and for your initiative. I think it's a really great idea to try and get ahead of this so it's not a reaction to a plan that a developer is making, but more when a developer comes to us, we can say, this is what we're looking for in this area. This is what our Erie Canal Overlay District says. I think it's going to make the process a lot better and help residents feel like they are, that we're not reacting to developer, but really helping residents kind of shape what we want our community to look like.
Right, thanks.
I think the community engagement piece is just huge. It being, one of the solid tasks of this, really having a chance for the community to provide what they would like to see in these hamlets and areas, knowing that ahead of time, I think could be really, really beneficial.
Yeah, thank you.
Jen, as a town board, will we be able to tell the developers that are coming in before this is complete that they need to wait until this is done for an application, or what's the thought with that?
Moratorium is the word.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
The answer to that. It would be nice. Can we do it? I don't know.
Okay. No.
We'll have to figure that out. That's a good question. Mhm.
Attorney LaFay, would you be able to explore any support for any sort of moratorium for any projects that have not been submitted yet, and research to other communities that have led this process before?
A moratorium would be done by passing a local law.
Okay.
So that would take a little bit of time. Typically, when we've had things such as this, we've let developers know that this is in the works, and they generally have been pretty good about trying to work with us for whatever that's worth.
Excellent. Thank you.
Right.
Yep.
And what I will say, to echo the parts about the community engagement, in the village board, when we do this, it wouldn't be even like a board meeting like this where you come and we sit. The engineering group will set up interactive workstations, different maps. You get like boards with Post-it notes or stickers, and they'll have a bunch of different things, proposed zoning, historic stuff, and the public actually gets to weigh on it. So it's quantifiable data that is contributed by the members of the community at the start of the process, not a plan that gets presented 3/4 of the way upon completion. Hey, let's take your input now, when it kind of feels like the process has already been going. This inverts that model and starts at the ground level where we get in, we'll get a clearly defined boundaries for all of the two hamlet districts. The Erie Canal overlay already has it. But then build up, what do we want to see from there? Get lots of input, practical, legally, and then work and build it out that way, not with a small number of people, then present when it's already been kind of fleshed out. People feel like they're not involved in the start of the process. Thank you.
Right. And we've been having the Canal Overlay District come through. We have a community where a developer coming in now, to Dave's question, that is going to be the first development that's going to be utilizing the Canal Overlay District. And as a board, we want to make sure that we don't set a precedent that's not good. We want to make sure that we're looking at it, taking a hard look at it. And so when we look at the code provisions, that's one thing, but then you say to yourself, well, what does that look like? And what are we envisioning when we see that? And so we hope that this planning will help us figure out what we mean by that. And so that we can show, in fairness, show developers graphically, this is what we think would be acceptable. So if there's no further points, I'll ask for a motion to authorize town supervisor to enter into an agreement with CZB to provide community visioning and hamlet planning services, including the review of the Erie Canal Conservation District Overlay District and preparation of area plans for Bushnell's Basin in Egypt for a total cost not to exceed $75,000 as outlined in the March 9th, 2026 proposal. Councilman Mishler and Councilman Masterson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Thank you, guys. All right, next, this agenda item is the proposed street and sanitary sewer improvements for Pilgrim Circle, Garden Drive, Briarwood Lane, and Woodcrest Drive. Circle.
My old street, that was the only reason.
I was like, wow, that is impressive. Okay. All right, this project traces back to the mid-2000s when the town partnered with Monroe County during the Jefferson Avenue reconstruction to install trunk sanitary sewer infrastructure, allowing adjacent neighborhoods the opportunity to connect in the future. As many of these neighborhood streets were constructed more than 60 years ago and relied on aging septic systems, the town conducted outreach over several years to determine resident interest. In 2017, the town surveyed residents of 7 streets in this area. Of the 79 households that responded, more than 80% expressed interest in connecting to the sanitary sewer if it were available. Based on that strong level of support, the town advanced sewer and roadway reconstruction planning in 2 phases. Phase 1, which included White Oak Lane, Sandy Hill Drive, and Sunnybrook Lane, was completed in 2019. Phase 2, which includes Pilgrim Circle, Garden Drive, Briarwood Lane, and Woodcrest Drive. Is that right? Yep. Was advanced to preliminary design but placed on hold in 2020 due to shifting priorities. These priorities included long-standing sewer commitments in other neighborhoods, and more recently, the replacement of the Aralt Road pump station and force main using available ARPA funding. Since that pause, conditions on the Phase 2 streets have continued to deteriorate. DPW is now recommending that the remaining work be completed within the next 2 to 3 years and that the project be divided into 2 subphases. Phase 2A would be Briarwood Lane and Garden Drive, and Phase 2B would be Woodcrest Drive and Pilgrim Circle. DPW has provided preliminary cost estimates for both phases and anticipates returning to the board with a supplemental engineering proposal to prepare the required map, the plan, the report, and seeker materials. If the board chooses to move forward, a public information meeting should be tentatively planned for June 2026. There's no formal board action that's needed here tonight, but as the costs, we do have to have some costs that will add up to gather these materials to get ready for the public information session. That will likely be under the $20,000 threshold, so I won't need board approval. But before spending any money, I think it makes sense to come to a consensus with the board and make sure everybody wants to move forward with this before we make any expenditure. So what I wouldn't mind doing is opening it up for discussion to hear the board's thoughts. We want to start with Dave? You good? Okay. Oh, sorry. Yep. Emily, sorry.
Start if you'd like.
Yes.
My questions are more about, I guess, the financing of this and how, what are the different options for financing this? What, I mean, one of the ways I think that we would do this is we would spread this out, to the existing sewer district. Is that correct? The cost of this would be spread out to the existing sewer district that we currently have.
This could be uh, uh, moved into the Perinton Consolidated Sewer District
Okay.
and made part of that and would be financed through debt issuance through the debt service fund.
Okay. And just excuse me, because I don't, there's a lot I still need to understand and know, I guess, about all of this.
Absolutely.
There's a lot, I still have a lot of questions, so I hope you don't mind if I.
Yeah.
So the folks that are currently in the existing sewer district, they have been paying into that sewer district for quite some time. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, so I'm just trying to explain it. Is it similar to let's say you take out a mortgage on a home and you start making payments on that mortgage? And so those payments slowly dwindle down at the remaining balance of that mortgage. Is that similar to?
The debt service fund now has approximately maybe a half a dozen different tranches of debt that will be maturing over the next 20 years. And therefore, the amount required to fund that will be dropping off as the debt matures.
Okay, are those specific to specific neighborhoods? Or
Excuse me, the debt was issued for specific projects,
Mhm.
but the payments are made by the entire consolidated district.
Okay. Has it always been practice to just, as I guess, add on, if you will, for lack of a better word, um, to an existing sewer district?
Uh, I've been with the town a little over 10 years, and that certainly has been the practice. I can't speak to what other municipalities do, whether they, you
Mhm.
could conceivably create a new sewer district for certain areas. But,
So there is a potential or an opportunity or another way of doing it that could be maybe a fresh sewer district that would be potentially assigned to a particular neighborhood?
I would have to research that, but I don't know there any reason why that couldn't be done.
Okay. I have more questions, but I'm just, if anyone else wants to.
I don't have any questions. I did really appreciate the attached schedule, because I know one of the concerns of the neighbors is, when is this going to happen? I love it's just laid out so clearly about what we can expect through the next 2 years. So thank you for that. And I think it's a great project.
Thank you so much, Commissioners Kennedy and Director Brian Dick. As they know, I will talk about sewers until someone tells me to stop. So that's why I want to go last, but I'll keep it quick. I do really appreciate the fact that we're broken into two sub phases. So if things change, and I know from community engagement and feedback that phase 2A of Briarwood and Garden, the neighbors are very eager and we have a high percentage willing to sign on. During phase 1 of this project, there was a couple of those streets that actually we surveyed the residents and the great majority said, decline. We don't want a municipal sewer at this time. So the connection on the main is there, but for the time, it is they're there. So we'll listen, but I think it's really good that it's broken, because if circumstances change or projects, we're not committed to the entirety of that whole huge scope. We're going to focus on the most pressing need. And while it's called the sewer project, what's really important to note is that it is complete road repair. Those same
Right.
two neighborhoods are in dire need of not just a patch or resurface. This is all the way down to the sub base, completely new sub base, brought up to today's standards. new stormwater catch basins to help pollution runoff, mitigate any standing water, along with that new sewer, which is important as well because it all flows through as we're trying to help mitigate all of the impacts. It's a benefit to everyone, even if some neighbors choose not at this time to connect to that municipal sewer, everyone gets a new road and it makes the roadway last a lot longer instead of doing the road part, which has to happen, cutting it back up to tie into sewers here or there, to have that ability done. The road is set because we get one shot for 30 years until we can do it again. I think the opportunity is very important. So thank you guys very, very much. And um, prior to this or after this meeting, is there a chance for that schedule just with the words draft written underlined up over it to at least be posted online for people to be able to take a look, even though if we haven't formally committed?
Yeah, we can take a look at a version of it.
Yeah, even if we just, underscore draft, so it's not 100% there, but I hope this is quite more actionable progress than some of these residents have seen in years previous. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Supervisor.
Um, I think you make a great point about the road. For me, that's a really determining factor in this project, knowing that we've discussed the possibility of the cost of the road not being part of that sewer fund that would come out of the highway fund. So while it's all being done and it's all part of it, it's not all going into that sewer account, making that bigger. And we've seen the projections to the sewer fund, and it stays below that 2%. There's no big jump. There's no impact that residents will feel from this change of any value. And I think that, to me, is really important. Is everybody's taxes going to go up because of this? That's a problem. And it really isn't impacting anything to any major level. And if that's the case, then I am in support of moving forward with this project. And we'll be doing the road anyways, and which is a really big part of the cost. So just a general consensus, would you guys be okay with me moving forward, spending a little bit more to get to that point where we can have a public information session?
Do you mind if I ask a couple more?
Please, that's what we're here for. Yeah, no, that's what we're here to do.
I guess I also have a question about the pivot. Maybe Commissioner Kennedy, you could help me with this. So in 2020, there was a pivot from doing phase 2 of the Briarwood and et cetera, the streets, right, to the Red Barn Circle. So there was a shift away from the area that we're talking about now to an entirely different area of Perinton, and the priority switched to Red Barn Circle. And then the Red Barn Circle sewer program did not happen there as well because of a priority that became more important. Is that correct?
Sort of, if I may
Sort of.
clarify.
Okay. Yeah. And I'm just,
Sure.
please tell me what what I don't know and what I need to know.
So Red Barn Circle and Beatrice Cove are off Craig Road to the south. So, not too far.
Familiar, yeah.
Separate from where these roadways are. And Beatrice Cove had sewers put in when it was originally constructed back in the 90s, and they were made part of the Perinton Consolidated Sewer District. So they had been paying into the capital portion of the sewer rate that anyone that's in the Consolidated Sewer District pays. So they already had sewers, but they were dry sewers. They couldn't be activated until sewers were installed in Red Barn Circle. So realizing this, we figured we've already got several users that have been waiting. The sewers are in the streets. They just need the second phase of that project, which was never completed, to be completed. So with the board's approval, we turned our direction to that neighborhood, put the new sewers in Red Barn Circle, and then that allowed us to sewer all of Beatrice Cove and Red Barn Circle, and we completed that project.
Okay. Oh, so that project has been complete.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't get that from this. So that was my concern. I was like, wait, we were going to pivot.
Right.
We were going to pivot and we did pivot, but then we didn't finish. And why are we pivoting back? Okay. Thank you for that clarification. Is there a way to have more specific financial information? So is there a way to actually see the specific cost impact to current sewer district members? Like just right, our $98 is our tax rate per 100,000. Like what, I guess I just would like to see if I, as a homeowner, what would it do to me as an individual?
Yes, the town, we have worked with our financial consultant, Bernard Donegan, and they have put together a plan based on preliminary numbers, and I will want to have them update that plan
Okay.
based on the new information that we can then share with the board.
Okay. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see what it does to the individual.
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest factor here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then could we also see, I have a whole bunch of notes. I've thought a lot about this because I just feel like it's a lot of money. Could we also see what the actual specific cost would be to the Briarwood, et cetera, streets individually to tie in? So the responsibility of the homeowner. I know we talked, I think, sort of informally about
I can at least answer that part.
okay.
That would,
Your water.
then,
Glad you-
that would be not the purview of the town. It would be site specific due to unique characteristics of each home layout and distance. That would be something that, any prospective
So there's 52 homes.
parcel that
Is
would
there-
like to connect, they would need to independently, and I would recommend 3 separate bids for that work to connect and reconfigure their existing
Okay.
parcel, because some of your house is set further back, you
Okay.
would have longer trenching. So that portion would be
Specific to each homeowner.
correct.
If I may just add,
Yes, please do.
again, don't hold me to the numbers, but when the municipal sewer would be installed, we'd run the service laterals back to the property right away line and install cleanouts and then leave the stub that would then be completed by the homeowners as they decided to tie on. And, it's not unreasonable to think that between 5,000 could be 10,000, upwards of 10,000 if your property sits way back from the
Okay.
street.
That's a good estimate. So
Yeah.
that is helpful. I think that might be it. I mean, I do want to also, I guess, just point out that that this money obviously it's a betterment of the entire community, right? I mean, there is an environmental piece to this that would be a huge piece. But there's also, if we use that money to do this, then it's not available to do something else. And so what is it that we wouldn't be able to do if we do this? Because these decisions they're not being made in a vacuum, and the decisions that we make affect everything else. And so just thinking, really critically and carefully about it.
Mhm. Is this money that we are borrowing? This is different than taking money from reserves and putting it in something. We're borrowing. Is it a little different? I wonder if we can
Is it
clarify
money?
that. I apologize. That's probably a stupid question, but is it money that we have that we could put somewhere else, or is it money that we're choosing to incur debt, which might be distinct?
Well, it is different in the fact that we would be incurring the debt. And then, of course, the debt will need to be paid back with interest. And the way we would do that is to raise taxes through
Right.
the various, the sewer fees. And those things do count against the levy cap as well.
Right. Right. That's a good point.
And I guess the other thought is, that levy cap is only 2%. And so I don't know, is there something else that might possibly come up that we might need that wiggle room of 2% for that's, of super, of importance.
Right.
So I'm just trying to think of all of the things.
I think so too. And I think getting those numbers back to see what that increase is for everybody to your point, it's going to be a really determining factor on whether that is something that would make sense for the whole town to carry or not. Yeah, I think that's a great point.
If
Sorry, Dave, were you?
I might offer on that question, just point of clarification.
Yeah,
Um, it's important as Brian noted that sewer debt can only be issued within the sewer district. So that's not money you could necessarily use to correct a drainage issue if it doesn't fall under the
okay,
the
that's good news.
the charter of and the tenets of a sewer district improvement. You couldn't necessarily use it to build a park pavilion because it's specific to the sewer district. And this is getting outside my core competency a little bit, but the question or the comment that was raised earlier about consolidated sewer districts, that all goes back to, town, county, and state law for special taxing districts. And the reason that they, allow that is because in and of themselves, 50 units for several $1 million cost would be prohibitive, but when it's consolidated into a larger tax base,
Share the cost.
like the consolidated sewer district is, yeah.
That makes it affordable.
It makes
I
it like pennies for everybody versus
Right.
something more.
I believe the district, Perinton Consolidated Sewer District formed in the early 70s. And, and that was part of it. There was disparate individual sewer districts, and then they banded together to spread the cost, the debt service of those improvements across the entirety of all those that shared that service. But certainly it does benefit, everyone that's in the district. And there are, secondary environmental benefits to even those that aren't.
I mean, I do believe that, infrastructure is the cornerstone of government. I mean, this is like one of the most important things we do as a municipality, is provide those infrastructure projects, and provide ways to be able to finance those. So, okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I really appreciate everyone's.
These are great
answering.
questions.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
I had a lot, and I appreciate you letting me ask them and talking it through with me.
That other
Thank you so
people
much.
probably have those same questions, so it's
I'm
probably
sure we'll
good.
have more.
Yeah. And we will have more
Yes,
opportunities.
but I really would like to see the numbers broken down by household, or, right?
I don't know if we can
or-
get numbers for their ability to connect because they're going to,
Household, but not to connect, but what it would do to,
like their sewer, their bill, the cost
Yes.
to now be in the sewer district for each person
Yes.
type thing. Okay.
if we could get that, that would be really helpful to see how it impacts individual homes.
Great. Good.
Okay. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right. Good. I'm kind of gathering that it's okay if I keep moving. All right, cool.
I have
Okay.
two other points or questions thinking about that. That would just be per the entire district because everyone in the town, even everyone who gets new sewers, it all flows all the way up to Van Leer Treatment Plant by Lake Ontario for the entire county. So everyone's doing it. So it's not like, and that's like to your point, it is. So that would be it. But could we also get a debt services schedule? And to be clear, even though phase 2 total would be 3.7, the sewer bond portion would only be 2.0, correct? Or I'm asking for clarification.
Yes, that's correct. If the board chose to only bond the core sewer components of the project through the sewer district and then decided to say use highways reserve monies to the supervisor's point to fund those portions that were associated with the roadway reconstruction, that would limit the borrowing specific to just those components that are the sewer proper, if you will.
And I know that we do have CHIPS money that helps in recouping the cost of the road resurfacing and such. So that is a positive thing on that end.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And one other thing, could I also have a schedule of like our debt services timeline for that sewer district? Or for all of us at the board, sorry. All right, man, excellent. And that's where I'm not, again, this is a good point for education and clarification. When it comes to a municipality, slightly a little bit different than if we were a private resident, because we can't, like a private resident can always just keep saving and saving without ill effect. If you're a municipality, the state really doesn't want you to have much more than 30% of an annual operating budget in reserves, because at that point, it's either you're taxing too much or you are not providing enough goods and services. That's a very important part for every resident here, especially with the reevaluation and reassessment of like, why don't we just keep building up reserves? Because by law, you really can't. By best practice and guidelines, once you get above 35%, you really have got to reallocate some of that back into either a yearly budget or a project. And why that matters, the debt service falling off, a good municipality, and also helps your bond rating, will keep projects going for the community at a small but consistent debt bond rate to address future projects. To your point, that's why you got 5 to 6 projects that are staggered. So as each one is one of your older ones rolls off, you pick up bond for the next neighborhood, but it keeps your interest and borrow level the same, but you keep moving your progress and services forward. And that also prevents like 1 year back to the point of not being a private resident where you can have savings account where you get a dip in the budget that's artificially dipped for 1 year. And then the next project comes and it's the rebound swing where that budget goes up 3 or 4% instead of a smooth 1.8% that keeps the municipal projects moving forward. As one rolls off, it's where it's very different for a municipality than a private individual, or for the most part, your goal is to eliminate all private personal type debt is municipality. A small level is actually acceptable and preferential for these large scale projects and to keep your budget smooth. Thank you.
Thank you, commissioners, for helping with all of that.
Great. Thank you all. Those are great questions and clarifications. Okay, up next is a request from the Recreation and Parks Department to approve maintenance and repairs to the poured in place rubber surfacing at 2 town playgrounds, the Perinton Community Center Playground and the Egypt Park Playground. These rubber surfaces provide important safety and accessibility benefits, but they do require periodic sealing to prevent deterioration and extend their lifespan. The Community Center Playground was installed in 2017 and is beginning to experience rubber shedding and needs a preventative seal at a cost of $6,000. The Egypt Park Playground, installed in 2014, has more significant wear, including rubber shedding and approximately 50 square feet of surface damage. Repairs and sealing here come in at $16,500. The total project cost is $22,500. Staff did explore options for full replacement, but this was estimated at roughly $200,000 and was determined definitely not necessary at this time. Based on recommendations from the original installer, the Parks Department is recommending Play Surface Specialties to perform this work under the sole source provision of our procurement policy. I believe, and Commissioner Nutting, you can correct me here if I'm wrong, that they are the only company that we could find that would provide just the resealing service rather than a full repair, if that's correct.
That is correct.
Okay, and that's why they'd be the sole service provider. Funding for this would come from the Parks Improvement Capital Fund and is subject to a 30-day permissive referendum. Commissioner Nutting, anything you want to add?
Oh, nope, that's good. Thank you.
Okay, any board discussion or questions on this?
Sounds like a good preventative.
I just have a quick question. So with the Lollipop Farm, is there any, do we have any updates about Lollipop Farm and the playground? Or are we thinking right now everything is going to remain as is?
Yeah, so I don't have any updates. So we feel that this maintenance is needed to at least get us through this season. So we think it's prudent to move forward with this now.
Okay. And do we know like the life expectancy of after we treat it? How long?
Yeah, so typically the life cycle of our playgrounds, we try to do a 20 to 25 year replacement plan. And the rubber surface, we try to do halfway through, so around 10 years. And this sealant should last the additional 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, good question. Thank you. Anything else? All right. If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion to approve the playground surface repair and maintenance at the Perinton Community Center Playground and Egypt Park Playground, to accept the quote from Play Surface Specialties in the amount of $22,500, and to authorize the associated budget amendments and fund transfers as detailed in the March 18th, 2026 memorandum provided to the board and made available to the public, subject to a 30-day permissive referendum. Can I have a motion? Councilwoman Stockman Broadbent and Councilman Mishler, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes. Thank you. Up next is the salt barn. This is a request from the Department of Public Works regarding the replacement of the DPW salt barn. The existing salt barn was constructed in 2007 and is included in the town's capital improvement program. In 2024, the town engaged MRB Group to complete a condition assessment of the structure, which found that the existing steel superstructure and fabric cover are nearing the end of their useful life and should be replaced. MRB evaluated multiple replacement options and based on life cycle costs and long-term operational benefits, recommended a wood frame structure as the most cost-effective solution for the town. In August 2025, the town applied for grant funding through the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation Water Quality Improvement Project. And earlier this year, the town was notified that it had been selected to receive up to $600,000 of reimbursable grant funding with the contract expected later this spring. So that's great news. We did get our grant, which makes this a much more feasible project, saving taxpayer dollars, which is fantastic. The DPW is requesting authorization from the board to establish the capital project and its budget, approve the use of reserve funds, authorize execution of the necessary engineering and grant contracts, and proceed to the bid phase. The total project budget is $1.3 million, which includes engineering, construction, and contingency. The construction is anticipated for 2027. The town finance director has reviewed and approved the proposed financing plan.
Yeah.
Commissioner Kennedy, do you have anything to add that I missed?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
We're gonna have to time this, right? During the winter months and not roll over into the winter months.
Right, during the summer, get
Yeah,
it in?
We're gonna have to do it this summer.
Right. Or spring, start. Any other questions?
Not about the barn, but the salt that's in there. Roughly how many tons did we go through? You can make up something close. I'm not going to know the difference. Just
This year or other years?
well, this
Because-
year it was probably an outlier, but I'm just curious.
Maybe we got our last salt bill, our rock salt bill. When I audited the bills, I noticed maybe that was the one last salt bill.
That is wishful thinking, and I like that. I like that positive attitude. I'm sure the residents do
I'm
too.
positive.
Our salt barn capacity is approximately 6,000 ton. And to date, we buy off state contract. We commit every April to a certain minimum amount, and then we're allowed to buy up to a maximum amount. And including last fall through now, I believe we've met our minimum purchase requirement of 7,000 ton.
Again, this one was a tough year for everyone all the way around. We had some smaller, easier ones before. Just again, thank you to you and your entire staff and the guys that are up at 2 a.m. plowing and salting and everything. And it's important that make that salt less longer. Thank you.
Yeah, Councilman Masterson.
How many tons of salt can you store in the salt barn?
Again, we can store upwards of about 6,000
Okay.
covered
So
in
you
the
use
in the barn proper.
If there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to authorize the following actions. Create the DPW salt barn replacement capital project. Approve the project budget and financing plan as outlined in the March 18th, 2026 memorandum. Authorize the use of building improvement reserve funds subject to a 30-day permissive referendum. Authorize the town supervisor to execute the engineering contracts with MRB Group as detailed in the March 18th memo. And authorize the Water Quality Improvement Project grant contract with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and authorize the town to solicit multiple bids. Can I have a motion? Councilwoman Mishler, and second by Councilman Masterson. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye, that passes. Thank you. You got your salt barn. Okay, Town Hall Perinton Community Center entrance project. This agenda item is a request from the Department of Public Works regarding the Town Hall and Perinton Community Center entrance improvement project. This project has been identified in the town's capital improvement program plan and focuses on improving accessibility, entrance functionality, and safety at the Town Hall and Community Center complex. The proposed improvements include upgraded sidewalks, more accessible parking, replacement of aging concrete and paver walkways, and associated drainage, lighting, landscaping, and security enhancements. All improvements will be ADA compliant. Since I've been here for the 2.5 months, I've seen multiple individuals fall, entering and exiting town hall and the community center, and they're like tough falls for folks. It's really difficult for seniors to get in and out of the building, and anyone that has trouble moving, it is a very difficult building to get in and out of. The heights of the curbing are goofy all over, and there's a litany of issues. It appears this has been the case for a while. The board previously authorized engineering services to get this project moving in 2024, and awarded construction to Villager Construction in June 2025. At that time, the town was also authorized an advance from the Building Improvement Reserve, subject to permissive referendum, which has since passed. The contractor, Villager, agreed to hold their pricing this whole time while the town pursued grant funding in order to pay for this project. Since then, we have good news. We were notified that Congressman Joe Morelli secured community project funding through HUD totaling $2.1 million for town of Perinton projects. And $1 million of those funds will be allocated towards this project. Being able to make these improvements to our facilities at no cost to taxpayers is huge. They're very necessary changes to do, but obviously we can't keep paying to do everything. And so getting that federal funding to make these changes is really fantastic. It allows us to move forward. The DPW is now requesting authorization to formally create the capital project and budget, execute an engineering contract amendment for construction inspection services, accept the federal grant funding, and advance project costs pending reimbursement. The total capital project budget before you tonight is $1.1 million. The town finance director has reviewed and approved the proposed financing plans. I'll pause here and ask if there's any questions or discussion from the board. And Commissioner Kennedy, if there's anything I missed, please jump in.
No, all set. Thank you.
Thanks.
Just a quick question. I noticed that there's an ask for an increase of about $100,000 for additional services. Do you do you know what those additional services might be that we're predicting will be necessary to increase the contract for?
Thank you, Brian. Anticipated services that we anticipate working with engineer Clark Patterson Lee or CPL is construction administration services, so review of shop drawing submittals, progress meetings, generating minutes, and then also construction inspection services. So having a full-time representative from the consultant on behalf of the town, keeping an eye on the work, make sure it's progressing appropriately, meeting milestones, and it's done in accordance with the documents.
Thank you. And a big thank you to Congressman Morelli's office for the grant. It's incredibly, it's going to be incredibly helpful for this project and possibly other projects that will come up.
Some huge
Yeah.
thank you to him. And I believe to Emily Columbus at ESP Consulting for helping us write that one, if I'm correct. Right. So we have to give her some kudos for that as well, because she was instrumental in helping us get that grant.
Incredible. Yay.
Yes. Okay, where am I in my agenda here? Right. Any other questions or discussion? Okay. So if not, then I'll entertain a motion to authorize the following actions. Create the Town Hall, Perinton Community Center entrance improvements capital project. Approve the capital project budget and financing plan as outlined in the March 18th, 2026 memorandum. Authorize the town supervisor to execute the engineering contract amendment with CPL for additional services. Accept community project funding from HUD with $1 million allocated to this project. And authorize an advance from the Building Improvement Capital Reserve to cover reimbursable project costs to be returned upon the completion of the project.
So moved.
All right, Councilman Felino and second Councilwoman Mishler. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That motion carries. Thank you. All right, next up is an order for hearing for 1151 Pittsford Victor Road. Let's see, this is for a special use permit application submitted for the proposed Powder Mill Apartments project at 1151 Pittsford Victor Road. The applicant, Powder Mill Land Company and Ryco Management, has submitted a complete special use permit application to allow for the redevelopment of an existing office building into a 3-story, 39-unit multifamily residential building within the town's restricted business and mixed-use district. Under Town Code, multifamily development on a parcel of this size requires review and approval by the town board through the special use permit process. Ordering a public hearing tonight does not represent approval or any position on the project. It simply allows the required public review process to move forward. We cannot deny an application without providing a hearing, so we are required to order a hearing and move forward from there. The next step is to schedule a public hearing so residents, agencies, and interested parties have an opportunity to review the proposal and provide input before the board considers any action on the application. Andrew, can you speak briefly to the notice that has already gone out and is upcoming?
Yes, we send out postcards with the official legal notice on it, as well as the information for when the hearing will be held. Those were mailed yesterday. The public review sign was posted as well on the property.
Today, I think it
It
went.
went up today, and I got the confirmation for that. And so the next notification would be the print notification, which will happen on April 3rd, which gives residents almost 3 weeks of a reminder that that hearing will be coming up.
Awesome, thank you. Nope, you can go ahead if there's any discussion, yeah?
What is the radius off of the proper line? Who will be receiving that?
The minimum required is 500 feet. We did 1,500 feet. And then we made sure that all of the businesses that were listed as being addressed in any of those businesses were properly addressed and sent those as well.
Yeah, and this is a pretty commercial area on Route 96, and so we thought extending that would be better because your 500 feet doesn't get you like 2 people. So we needed to extend that radius to actually get the neighbors around there some notification. The next step is to schedule the public hearing so residents and agencies and interested parties have the opportunity to review all of this before the board considers any action. Does anybody else have any thoughts or discussion before we move forward?
Yeah, just that in the past, sometimes neighbors have been upset when they felt like the radius wasn't big enough. So I'm really happy to see us expanding that radius of notification. I think that's great.
Great. And all of the materials in the application are available online on the website right now. So if anybody's curious about the project, you can go take a look.
I just want to point out that part of this process is this is a board exercising our legislative right given to us by the state to oversee some of these things and be involved in this process as a special use permit. There was a push by the previous administration to eliminate the need for a special use permit on for properties greater than 1 parcel. I will speak for myself only in that, and I did not like that one bit. I pushed back because that eliminated a very significant layer of public involvement and board oversight as the elected representatives. I just want to say that when people see these processes come before or these applications, the board does not seek this out. Anyone has got a right to apply for them. If at that time that had gone through, this special use permit hearing would not be before this board without our ability to weigh in on it. So I think that's a very important process that myself, along with others, advocated for that to stay.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, if there's no further questions, I'll entertain a motion to order a public hearing on the special use permit application submitted by Powder Mill Land Company and Ryco Management for the proposed Powder Mill apartment project located at 1151 Pittsford Victor Road, and to direct that notice of public hearing to be provided in accordance with the town law and town code, and the hearing to take place on April 22nd. I think that's right, at 7 p.m.
So moved.
All right, Councilman Masterson, seconded. Councilman Felino, all in favor? Aye. That motion carries. Okay, All right, we have next up is a contract for legal services with Mancuso Brightman. This agreement would engage the firm in a contract attorney role, which is distinct from a staff attorney position, to provide legal services to the town and its boards on an as-needed basis. The contract includes reduced hourly rates with a not-to-exceed amount for general municipal services for the remainder of 2026, as outlined in the engagement letter reviewed by the board. If there's no questions, I will entertain a motion to approve the contract and authorize the town supervisor to execute the agreement as reviewed. Moved by Councilman Masterson. Second. Councilman Stockman Broadman, all in favor? Aye. All right. That carries. Do we need Mike here for that, or we're good? We got a quorum? All right. Okay. Okay, that's our agenda for tonight. Supervisor updates. I have only one thing. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that tonight is our attorney Joe LaFay's last board meeting. He asked me to keep it simple, so I won't make a big production of it, but I just want to quickly and sincerely thank him for his service to the town. Over the past few months, I've greatly appreciated the opportunity to work with him and get to know him. I know I speak for the staff as a whole in sharing that we are all grateful for his guidance and professionalism, and we wish him all the best moving forward. So thank you, Joe. I'll open it up to the rest of the board for any other updates or thoughts.
I just wanted to take a minute also to thank Town Attorney Joe LaFay. You have been the town attorney the whole time I've been here, and I really appreciate how you've always been exceptionally friendly and kind, especially when I was brand new, and always willing to answer my questions, which oftentimes were many. So thank you so much for your service to the town.
Thank you, Mr. LaFay.
Thank you, Joe.
Guys, have any other updates that you'd like to provide? No? We'll keep it simple. Do you have any updates, Mr. Felino?
Sorry about that, everyone, my allergies. One would be a question and not looking for an answer. It's a very minor one. Any tentative timeline for the opening of our park, restrooms and facilities? Right.
I love questions you say you don't need to answer. Yeah, you say
But could you please
I
answer?
don't have that date. It's still being worked out. Typically, it's late April, early May.
Okay. But, you know,
Are you
that's,
getting anxious?
no, I just, the only reason I ask is, as a golfer, some of the golf courses are starting to plan
Yeah.
their on-course restroom. That's the only thing that made me think about it. And then my only announcement, April 1st this year is the annual Powder Mill Park Reedman Foundation Trout Derby that's been going on for a long time. Quite a few years ago, I mean, probably at this point, 15-ish, the County Monroe that operated that hatchery could no longer afford to do so, and it was closed down. And a local business owner created a 501c3 nonprofit foundation that took ownership and operation of that fish hatchery in the state park facility. And that trout derby is their biggest single fundraiser for the funds that keep that going and stock all of our creeks. It is $5 to enter. It starts at approximately 6 a.m. It goes to noon. Biggest trout caught by weight wins $500, and the remainder goes to it. So I've taken the day off from work. If anyone wants to join me, I'll be there at 4:30.
When is it?
It is April 1st,
April-
Wednesday, and this year it actually worked out really well because it coincides with spring break.
And it's not an April Fool's joke. April 1st.
That's great.
I do not joke when it comes to trout fishing.
I do. I can actually just add one more thing. We have a repair cafe in our community. I don't know if you've heard about this, but it's at the Methodist Church, and it is, it's open tomorrow. It's open the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. So, and I'm forgetting the hours.
Can't remember. Is
It's
it on
in
the
the
Color Fairport Green
evening.
I believe it's 5 to 7.
5 to 7? Yes.
Okay. So anything that you need repaired, it's free of charge and it keeps things out of the landfill. So fantastic.
That's a great point. We are working towards getting closer to our volunteer boards. We're interviewing, moving forward ahead, so we will have some decisions soon with that as well. All right, can I move on to public comment? Okay.
Let's do it.
We are moving on to that. So for anybody who wishes to comment, when called on, please come up to the podium and state your name and address before commenting. Please address all comments to the board. For anyone online, please hit the raise your hand button and Chris will unmute you when it is time for you to comment. All right. Would anyone like to come up? Yes, sir, all the way in the back.
Mic live? Mic is live?
I'll
Okay.
give you a light, either red or green, a little push button on it. It'll hit the base.
It's on. It's on. Okay, very good. Allow me to introduce myself. So my name's Andrew Little. I've reached out to some of you already a couple months ago via email. But my wife and I are lifelong residents of Fairport. My wife Kelly back there, she's sitting back there. And we've lived on Periwinkle Drive for the past 21 years. I'm here tonight because well, a few years back, we discovered the health benefits of mountain biking. And that's what brings me here tonight. So I'm here to advocate to the board that you put some thought and work into working with the community to develop multi-use trails to support mountain biking in the town of Perinton. We love living here in the town of Perinton, but there's some frustrating irony. In a town that calls itself Trail Town USA, we have to load our bikes onto our cars and drive to different towns to ride them on mountain bike trails. So we go to towns like Webster and Victor that have developed dozens and dozens of miles of public use trails that traverse public and private lands. And bikers and hikers coexist in those locations. We could do the same here in Fairport. Before appearing here tonight, I'd done a lot of research. And while I've seen some starts and stops to mountain biking efforts here in the town, it seems to mostly get no traction over the last decade. And I'd really, again, like to get you to change that. There's a lot more to talk about in details on some of the root cause analysis that I've done, but that's for another time. But, bottom line is our residents are missing out on some easily accessible, healthy outdoor activities like mountain biking. And, it's been proven that riders are happier and healthier people. Also, riders spend money, and it's really good for our local businesses. Riders visit bike shops, we go to restaurants, breweries, ice cream shops, and more. And currently, we're exporting those dollars to other communities to go ride elsewhere. We just haven't kept pace with the recreational infrastructure of some of our neighbors. But there's great news in this. We really don't need to reinvent the wheel. All I'm asking you to do is look at the blueprints where it's already been successfully implemented, Victor, Webster, and other communities around New York State. And I think we've got kind of a head start here in some ways. We've got land, we have some trails, we have experience with recreational easements, and we have community demand. So I'm here to tell you that I am willing to spend time working with you, and I bet other members of this community who are off-road cyclists would be as well, so that we can really make Trail Town USA truly Trail Town USA that is an asset for generations ahead. So that's all I had to say for tonight.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Little. I have to say, it's so wonderful when someone comes up to advocate for something and you don't just talk about what you don't like or that you're mad. You've provided like opportunity and steps and path forward to get there. So I really appreciate that perspective and that attitude towards it.
Absolutely.
Since taking office, I have to say I've heard about mountain biking a lot.
That's good.
You're not the only one. It has come up in a lot of different areas. I know as a board, we're all focused on it. I know Commissioner Nutting has been talking about it as well. We are taking a field trip soon to learn about how it's done in other areas so that we can see what we can do here. But I know you've probably heard that it's maybe going to happen for some time, so it may seem like lip service, but we are looking at it and thinking of ways that we can do it here because I think we all agree that some component of a shared, I don't want to say that. I personally agree. I don't want to speak for the board, that some level of a shared use plan is really the path forward.
Here to help.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mr. Watkins?
Yeah. If not you, then who?
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good.
Brian Watkins, 9 Briarwood. First of all, thank you for putting this item on the agenda. I appreciated it being there. I was excited when I saw it there. And it was a reasonable discussion, and thank you for all the information that you provided to me. I do have a couple of requests and comments,
Sure.
given the discussion that I heard today, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, would you be able to confirm on the schedule that the public hearing would be in the 2-month-ish time frame from 2 weeks ago, as we spoke, for the public hearing on this matter?
I think we're looking at June.
June.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I also want to comment about the financial aspect of this. So I'd like to just offer a reframing of this a tad bit. So in the past, this was on the plan, in the budget, and the money was used elsewhere. So from my viewpoint, we're backfilling that money that was used in the past for something else other than this project. And this project was on the budget and other problems happened, which I understand. So those problems should be communicated that we're, I'll call it backfilling the money that was used to fix whatever that was.
Right.
And so thank you for also acknowledging that that was part of the plan. Funding was allocated differently than initially intended because of various reasons. It doesn't matter. But hearing that made me appreciate the homework that was done in that project, or in the research that was done. But I do want to emphasize that the neighborhood of Briarwood and the other ones were on the list, and it should be almost a negligible impact to the folks in the neighborhoods, considering it was on the list already, and the entire town and the sewer district is probably hundreds of people and not just a few. Thousands. Thank you. So many, many, many people inside the sewer district in the area that I live. And I understand there's opportunity costs and any decision that you make, but this is, in my opinion, a high opportunity for the streets of Briarwood. And one other question I had, you mentioned a dollar value in the beginning of your commentary about the speech. Is that to provide funding for engineering and other assessments?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Thank you. And I can't think of anything else unless anyone has any questions for me. Oh, thank you for your time, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
Just please don't stop coming once this project is completed. I've grown accustomed to you guys, the Jefferson Avenue crew.
Jump on the mountain biking thing after I'm done.
Okay, good.
Steve Rosini, 15 Briarwood Lane. Just one thing I'd like to clarify.
Okay.
We neighbors, we got together and we took a walk and
Right.
talked to neighbors. Okay. Woodcrest has sewers. Why is that? Why, Jason, why is Woodcrest listed as part of this? They have sewer.
So first and foremost, I want to apologize to the residents of Woodcrest Circle. Appreciate the corrections.
We're all only human, and you know what? If that's the worst error, that is a fantastic day. You've got 1,000 streets in our town that you keep track of the suffixes. Commissioner Kennedy, you do a fantastic job. Thank you.
Well, there's a drive, a lane, and there's 2 circles involved in the project. Not
Yeah.
drives. So interestingly enough, and I don't have a graphic to share with you, but Woodcrest Circle, I'll call it the south half, because it is in fact a circle,
Yes.
as the name implies. That's actually a sewer that originates to the east and south of the town. It conveys a large drainage shed from the central and south central part of the town, northerly across under the canal from the old post area, and then across the Woodcrest Circle, the southern piece of that out to Jefferson Road. It then conveys northerly up Jefferson, down Brentwood, up Brookside, down Fairfield, and makes its way out to a connection with the regional Monroe County Pure Waters Interceptor, kind of backlots off of Shadowmore, almost where it connects with Crystal Springs. And that was the site of the former town treatment plant, one of the 2 town treatment plants. So that's not a coincidence. So that's like a main connector, if you will. So they chose to take it down the south side of Woodcrest. I can't honestly speak to why they didn't extend service up around the circle to the north side, but they didn't. But it certainly is serviceable, and we can connect it in, not necessarily to that southern part, but we would connect it
We're talking
right
about
over to
same
Jefferson.
Crest Circle.
Same one.
On the east side of Jefferson Avenue.
Mr. Rosini and Commissioner Kennedy, I will take this because I grew up on that south side and we had one of those big manholes in our front yard. And my good bus buddy and neighbor to the north half of the circle did not have it. And we looked at, I've looked at the maps as well. Again, being part of my profession of dealing with it and growing up with it. And I remember when they would have to come and get huge, now I realize why I'm a plumber, equipment into that manhole and access that was in our front yard. But the north half never did. And that's where it does. We have how many, 2 or 3 sewer canal crossings?
You walked from the north side around the loop.
Yep. So the next time you go through,
And they had.
Yeah.
Pardon? Yeah, but when we started, the guy with all the toys in the front yard there, he's connected. Yeah.
so I was
That's north.
36. North side is going to be 3. That's the low side. South side would, because I was 36, 27 would still be on the low side.
Okay, so you know where the.
Right. Again, just like you guys know your street, but that is why.
Okay. We on Briarwood Lane, all of our houses, when they were originally built, starting in 1960, were prearranged for sewer connection. So that's how long this dates back, okay?
Right.
And I want to thank everyone for their efforts, once again, in keeping this moving forward. Appreciate the thoughtfulness that's gone into looking at how to pay for it, how to schedule it, and how to implement it in phases. I can say this, that everyone that I've spoken to in our neighborhoods, and we've spent a bunch of time walking around and talking to people, even if they're not planning to connect, is, I think, largely in favor. So,
Great.
good.
Thank you.
Thank you for the progress. Thank you for your
Absolutely.
time.
Michelle West, 8 Briarwood Lane. I just real quickly want to say thank you so much for getting this project moving forward. It is so encouraging. I was so happy, like Brian said, to see it on the agenda for tonight. So it is very encouraging and promising. And thank you so much for all of your work. I really appreciate it. So I look forward to hopefully seeing this come to fruition. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Michelle. Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm Bruce Freeland. I live on 93 Old Stonefield Way, and my wife Liz is here. And I just wanted to give a shout out to Commissioner Kennedy and his team for taking action on this issue. We've been trying to raise awareness of this issue for at least 10 years, and it took Jason and his team after one phone call to get involved and really start trying to create some resolution to this. It is an active site, continues to erode every day, every time it rains, like it did this weekend. We watch the erosion out of our back window every morning. And so we also want to support Jason and his team as they develop phase 2. Which is the stabilization piece. What phase 1 is all about is stopping the predominant cause of the ongoing erosion. But there's definitely going to be a stabilization required, and we're going to need your continued support as a board, I suppose, as we get into that planning and ultimately, hopefully, resolving that stabilization as well. So thank you to the board. I really appreciate your support and the ongoing support of Jason and his team. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Freeland. Thank you. Anybody else? That's it. All right. Well.
Online.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Chris, anyone online?
No one raised their hand, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. If there's nothing else that I've forgotten, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And second by Mr. Masterson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That passes. Next town board meeting will be on Monday, April 6th at 7 PM, same place. Thank you, everybody.